Greetings. This is the E flat minor. It's got a really nice curve to it. It's like a telephone. um, so here's the tone hole at the bottom. It's quite large. So this one operates more like a flute because the sound is passing through, out towards the bottom. So it's still this ocarina and flute sort of hybrid with the mouthpiece section here, and this is the fipple, which is just I get a good light on it. There we go. So that is kind of a rectangular slit that is beveled and on the inside as well, and it's just to direct when you blow through the mouthpiece here, which I tried to, with this particular piece, I was just doing something different with my experimentation and working with wood. And so I tried to just I pitched this section on my belt sander and just was able to get it to curve with, the rotating pad. So it was able to get it this nice curve in here. And so then it kind of just comes out like a spout, like a standard mouthpiece would on a recorder, which was a cool design. And I might try to do it more often when I acquire some more horns. But so this is, of course, the only one of its kind that I've made this way. Just nice, simple rosewood cap. And the windway is quite large actually on this one. The piece itself, here's the back tone hole. So this is just like a soft redwood. It can scratch very easily. It's a softer wood. I use it because it's lighter. So for the gluing, when I glue this onto the antler, a softer wood that doesn't have as much density will seal better. And this can be moved around a lot easier than if it was a heavier piece of wood up here. It would have the tendency to accidentally pop off or something over time. So same thing with these. These are just this is a light sliver of rosewood and cedar underneath. And cedar's good because it keeps. It has a high, like mold and rot resistant, like in terms of nature, you're using it for your decking and, what's it called? People do their fences and stuff with cedar. It's just got good water capability. So that's why a lot of flutes are a lot of the time made out of cedar because they are very resistant to, just moisture damage, mold, mildew, things like that. So this piece in particular is got a lot of airflow. So as long as you keep it in a kind of nice regular room temperature environment, it'll be good. Don't not too hot and not too cold, just like normal most instruments. Playing it, so it's set just basically like a regular 6 or 7 hole recorder would be, but the finger spacings are just like kind of stacked on each other instead. So you climb, with right hand on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and then 7 in the back. And I'll give you a sample of the breath pressure that you need to use to make it sing. It's kind of like a very gentle, but then you can get moderate to even hard with it at the end. The highest note you'll be blowing a little bit more forcefully than the rest of them, but it's relatively gradual. Every time you lift a finger hole, I would add a little bit more breath pressure into the tonality to just get it where your ear thinks it should be. It's tuned to this is a 440 instrument, so you can play with other people. Hopefully, if they want to find a complementary, major or minor or whatever. And that's just like tongue, like flicking, like that's very gentle pressure. Like the whole thing just toots really loud. I'll give you like a little pass and I'll show you the standard scale. So you can actually oscillate the relatively same like lung pressure to float up and to float down the scale. So it's very, very responsive. So you can bend notes really, really well with this one. I think it's because of the tone hole in particular. It's really letting a lot of air pass through the instrument naturally. With certain types of other ones that I've made, and ocarinas in particular, you get this the wind chamber itself like starts to capture, and then it only spills out of like finger holes and like kind of back towards the mouthpiece or the fipple itself sometimes. So that changes the way that the vibrations move through the instrument when it doesn't have a tone hole or like a release valve. Essentially, like there's different things that happen to the instruments. In particular, I'm messing with a lot of different materials right now, so it's cool to see where that trend tends to happen. And with popping tone holes and things and not, the instrument will operate differently, which is cool. So this one, the tone hole is in here to get it at a really good E flat. And then you've got the high one full octave. There's probably some cross fingering that can be done as well, where there's secret notes. There's definitely super, super clean sounding. And it's not very like, doesn't have a lot of raspy wind passing through it. Like it just shoots the sound out really quickly when you're putting whatever, finger combination you want in. So I really love this one for that. Some of them tend to sometimes be a little bit more breathy or deep or like warm, but not as clear. So there's some differences in tonality amongst all the models. This one is dense. It's a denser horn, so it has a much brighter and louder volume in particular, and that works the same way in most of the acoustic instrument worlds. If you use like a tight poured wood, anything in the medium to the hard bodied area, of density, they tend to shift into being like a louder, more crisp and clean type instrument, and stuff that is more thin walled and less dense tend to be warmer, softer in volume and tone, but have a different vibe to them. So just experimenting with all these mediums. So that's generally most of the things that I could explain about this. I would say like it's built to hold it like a regular right-handed classical instrument would be played. So right hand on the right side of the instrument, left hand on the left side of the instrument, and then when your hands are wrapped around it, almost your whole palm just like can brace the thing, and you can just like scoop your thumb underneath and hold it onto the thumb hole. And this one's really cool because you kind of get to kick it off like it was a transverse side flute, and or you can keep your arm down. So depending on how much sort of wiggle room it has in here, that's the joy of this one, is that I tried to put all the holes as like ergonomically possible onto the horn itself, given like wherever everything was working acoustically. And that's always done with if a hole is too flat, you have to widen it open a little bit more, and it makes it sharper and it spills more air out. So that's the specs predominantly on this, and I will I'm gonna just wipe it down and sanitize it all up and put it in a box and go to the post office. So I hope that is quite informative for you. If you need any other questions on technique or random things with this particular instrument, just let me know, because since I have a few of them, some of them operate very consistently like each other. So that's easy if you need a pointer or something like that, but it's super easy to operate. I think that you'll just pick it up and like you're just going to take off with it. I've had that result with a lot of people playing these. So thank you so much. Blessings, and I really appreciate you and your support for my craft. Be well, and it will see you soon.